My grandmother was critically ill, and only my boyfriend Hizijo in the entire city could perform the surgery. I begged him for 27 days, and he finally said that the schedule had opened up for my grandmother, and the surgery could be done. My grandmother waited in the operating room until she died, and he never showed up. That night, I scrolled through Weibo and saw Hiziza's little childhood friend posting pictures after her surgery. Fortunately, you're here. I made an appointment a month ago. And finally, I was able to do it 3 days in advance. It was then that I realized. On the first day I asked Hizijo. He had already agreed to accompany Xiao Qingmei Su Weiwei to Korea for minor cosmetic procedures. My phone rang, and on WeChat, Hizijo casually mentioned that the surgery was postponed by 3 days, and he would be the lead surgeon. Wan Yi, be good and understand me a little. I promised Weiwei a long time ago, and I can't break my word. In 3 days, Weiwei's double eyelids will have swollen down. In 3 days, I will perform surgery on my grandmother. 3 days later, when Hizijo was checking the information to perform surgery on his grandmother, I discovered that my grandmother had already passed away. The nurses shouted anxiously as they rushed into the ward, where Grandma lay so frail on the bed, with tubes inserted into her body. She did not wake up again despite the shouts and shocks from those around her, but she clearly had a chance to live. Upon learning about Grandma's illness, only the difficult-to-reach Hizijo could perform the surgery, and I begged him for 27 days. The first time, he told me that he couldn't show favoritism, with so many patients waiting in line. The second time, he said there was a training meeting that couldn't be delayed. The 26th time, he said that a colleague's shift change would affect the surgery schedule. I waited desperately for 27 days, my grandmother's illness worsening day by day. Yet Hizijo never came to see her even once. If it weren't for Su Weiwei posting on Weibo, I would still be foolishly waiting in the hospital. I found so many reasons for Hizijo, but I never expected that my grandmother's life would come after Su Weiwei's double eyelids. Ironically, the afternoon before he left the country, he was still reminding me to take good care of my grandmother and not to worry. I always find excuses for him. He's busy with work, and I should be understanding. But as I watched my grandmother declared dead after failed resuscitation, I knelt by her bed, crying so hard that I couldn't stand up. My phone rang. It was a call from Hizijo. Remember to observe Grandma's vital signs these days. Be careful not to get a fever and avoid infections. I can schedule the surgery in 3 days. I listened to the concerned voice on the phone, my hands trembling so much that I could barely hold the device. Grandma is gone. My only support is gone. What good are his words now? Miss Wan, the funeral directors have arrived. The young nurse reminded me. What funeral master? Wan Yi, where are you? Hiziza's anxious voice came from the other end of the phone. At the hospital. Hizijo paused on the phone. Don't worry. They'll go check on her right now. The call ended. It's not unusual for people to pass away in the hospital, and it's understandable that Hizijo thinks the same way about the funeral directors. I stood up with a blank mind, mechanically cooperating with the funeral directors as they prepared my grandmother. Grandma had just been taken away when Hizijo sent another message. Wan Yi, who is a bit vain, is worried that her eyes will stay swollen and look bad, and she wants me to help her buy ice packs. They'll definitely go to the hospital with you and Grandma next time. I stared blankly at that message. Ever since Hizijo went to college, he has always been telling me, next time he'll go home with you to see Grandma. Next time he'll spend Christmas with you. Next time we'll go pick out the engagement ring again. Hizijo knew that I never cried or made a fuss, so he always put me at the back, making me wait for everything. But this time, I wouldn't wait any longer. Grandma is gone, and I will never forgive him. I followed the car to the funeral home to keep vigil for the old lady. Hizijo sent messages all night and kept calling, but I neither looked at them nor answered. After taking care of my grandmother's funeral affairs, I put the house up for sale online. I can no longer stay in this city. I can see my memories with my grandmother everywhere. I want to resign from the company, but my boss, impressed by my abilities, wants me to coordinate and transfer to the branch in the north. Familiar colleagues all advised me to take care of myself and my grief. And the leader, Sister Jia, said to go to the northeast and let the people there heal my sorrow. In this city, besides Hizizhou, I have no one close to me. Even if I were to disappear, no one would miss me. Just as I finished my transfer paperwork and was walking out of the company with my box in hand, Hizizhou arrived. Wan Yi. Hizizhou extinguished his cigarette and walked over from the car, reaching out to take my box. I glanced at him, frowned, and tried to pull away. Hizizhou caught up to me in a few steps. Why aren't you replying to my messages? I tried to sidestep and leave, but he grabbed my arm. What's wrong? Are you angry? You're grown up now. Still holding a grudge against that little girl Weiwei. I promised her a long time ago. How could I back out? I'm the kind of person who always keeps my word. One must be trustworthy, Hizizhou said softly. I struggled, trying to shake off his hand, but he only tightened his grip. Stop throwing a tantrum. Okay. You know I don't like it. Hiziz's expression turned cold. I came to find you right after getting off the plane without any rest. And you still have the nerve to throw a tantrum. I'll arrange grandma's surgery the day after tomorrow. Is that okay? I could no longer hold back my tears, shaking off Hizizhou and screaming. I don't need you anymore. I won't need you anymore from now on. My grandmother is dead. She's dead. Hizizhou was taken aback, his expression darkening. Wan Yi. In 2 days, Weiwei's double eyelid stitches will be removed. At that time, I can perform surgery on your grandmother. Is it really necessary for you to disregard your grandmother's health just because of the small matter with Weiwei and say I don't need to perform the surgery? I stared at him in disbelief, unable to believe my ears. He actually thought I was sulking because of my grandmother. He actually thought I was jealous of his little childhood sweetheart. Kisisho irritably scratched his head and turned away. All right. I know no one can compare to your grandmother in your heart. I promise to perform the surgery for her the day after tomorrow. Is that okay? You have no idea how hard it is for me. I'm working non-stop. I looked at Hisisho in front of me, as if I had never known him at all. Hisisho seemed to want to say something more, but a message notification pinged on WeChat, and he glanced at it. His expression flustered. Hisisho, you go back first. I have something to do. Hisisho dropped that line and drove away without looking back. I know it's definitely another message from Su Weiwei, but none of this matters to me anymore. I want to take advantage of the fact that Hisisho hasn't returned home yet. To pack my things and leave the city, I stumbled my way back home, only to find that my little bunny slippers were missing when I walked in. Brother Zizhou, come and try it. Is it good? Su Weiwei ran out of the kitchen and paused when she saw me. She was wearing my little bunny slippers, tied my apron around her, and stood in front of me with a spoon in hand, looking quite charming. Oh, I thought it was someone else. Turns out it's you. Su Weiwei chuckled teasingly. How about that? Did you not expect that I could call Brother Zizhou away with just one phone call? What does it matter that your grandma is waiting for surgery? He still went with me to get double eyelids. You're not that important to him anyway. I clenched my fists tightly, watching her smugly lift her chin with her swollen eyelids, trembling with anger. Besides, she's just an old hag. Why should my brother Zizhou go out of his way to do surgery for her? Su Weiwei glanced at me triumphantly. Just as Zizhou walked in through the door, Su Weiwei immediately let out a scream and fell to the ground. The door was left open, and Zizhou saw me on top of Su Weiwei, slapping her. Wan Yi, are you crazy? Zizhou pulled me away and tossed me aside. I crashed heavily into the kitchen island, my back aching as if I were about to suffocate. Su Weiwei cried as she threw herself into Zizhou's arms, choking on her words as she complained. I just tried on my sister-in-law's slippers for a moment, and she got angry, saying I was shameless. She even said I caused her grandmother's death. I told her I didn't, and then she hit me. Zizhou suddenly turned around, glaring at me fiercely. I was taken aback. I had never seen Zizhou display such a fierce expression, as if I hadn't just hit his little green plum, but had instead cut out his heart. Wan Yi, you've gone too far. Zizhou's cold voice pierced through me like countless knives. With my hands and feet cold, I watched him throw away the little bunny slippers and pick up Su Weiwei. Walking towards the door, as he passed by me, he suddenly said, I need to reconsider your grandmother's surgery. The door slammed shut, and my legs went weak as I sank to the ground. He actually used my grandmother's surgery to blackmail me, to force me to apologize to Su Weiwei. If my grandmother were still here, how panicked and broken would I be? He actually trampled on my dignity and my grandmother's life, just to vent for his little green plum. I don't know how long I sat there before I slowly got up, trembling as I began to pack my things. We were together in high school, spent 4 years apart in college, and I came to him alone for work. Now, nearing 30. It's not easy to sort everything out. Every little memory reminds me of how deeply we loved each other before. Zizhou vowed he would become the best doctor to protect me and grandma. But when did he change? I only packed some simple clothes and books, and I planned to throw away the rest. The doorbell rang, and Zizhou walked in. He paused for a moment when he saw me kneeling on the floor, packing things into the box. Weiwei's ears were pierced, and her double eyelid stitches came undone. I begged her not to call the police. Zizhou sighed and hugged me. Wan Yi, how did you become like this? I ignored him and just lowered my head to tidy up. Zizhou turned me around. I know you're angry with me because of grandma. I promise you, after one more day, I'll arrange the surgery for her. I have already informed the hospital that I will be back to work the day after tomorrow. And this time it's for real. Once I finish the surgery for Grandma, she will be able to attend our wedding. Kizijo said this and then wanted to hug me, but I raised the storage box in my hand. Okay. I got it. I'll go take out the trash first. I carried the box out the door, ignoring the smile fading from Hiziz's face as I walked towards the entrance. Perhaps he sensed my indifference and wanted to call out to me, but the door was opened by someone. Su Weiwei walked in with a pout, shot me a glare, and linked her arm with Hiziz's. Brother Zijo, I'm worried about the wound getting infected tonight, so I want to sleep with you. Kizijo looked flustered and explained to me, Wani, don't misunderstand. Weiwei is weak, and her wound getting infected can indeed cause a fever. Let her stay, just for one night. She can stay in my room, and I'll sleep in the living room. Kizijo seemed worried that I might misunderstand, so he added one more thing. Okay. I replied lightly, holding the box as I walked out. Wan-yi, let's go see Grandma together tomorrow and make arrangements for her surgery. I didn't respond, and Kizijo felt a bit anxious. He wanted to catch up with me but was held back by Su Weiwei, who insisted on having him apply disinfectant to her wound. When I threw away the trash, I saw the light in his study was on, and he stood by the window, swaying as he looked at me, but I no longer cared. I had discarded everything. The next day, I hailed a cab at the door and headed straight to the funeral home, scheduling the first cremation. Looking at the blazing furnace, I still couldn't equate death with Grandma. There were more people at the funeral home than I had imagined, with several bodies being prepared at the same time. Since I had made my appointment early, my grandmother was among the first to be cremated. I silently gathered my grandmother's ashes, settled the fees, and planned to buy a ticket to leave. The hospital notified me that I needed to be present to sign for the refund of my grandmother's hospitalization deposit. I had no choice but to go to the hospital again. While I was in the office, Su Weiwei walked over. Wan-yi, you little bitch. Are you using Brother Wazi's money again to pay for that old geezer? I glanced at Su Weiwei, not wanting to engage with her, and turned to leave. But Su Weiwei stubbornly grabbed me. You shameless person. I'm talking to you. What kind of attitude is that? What are you doing here at this time? Not preparing for Grandma's surgery. Kiziz's voice came over. I held back my tears and said, my grandma has already. Brother Zijo, you and Miss Wan aren't married yet. What right does she have to spend your money? Su Weiwei grabbed Kizijo, her face filled with indignation. Yes. I won't spend it anymore. After saying that, I left without looking back. Although I had never spent Hiziz's money, there was no need to explain now. Kizijo looked at Su Weiwei irritably. Who told you to talk to Wani like that just now? Su Weiwei felt wronged. Brother Zijo, I was just speaking up for you. That woman is only after your money. Kizijo slapped Su Weiwei. Shut up. Wani has never spent a single cent of my money. And besides, we are going to get married in the future, so it's not your place to meddle in these matters. Su Weiwei was shocked and covered her face. Brother Zijo, Dr. He, the surgery is ready, the nurse said softly as she approached. Kizijo frowned slightly and took the surgery notification to sign. Arrange for bed 8. Liver cancer patient Li Xianglan. To go to operating room 3 for preoperative preparation. I'll go change into my work uniform first. After Kizijo finished speaking, he shot Su Weiwei a glare and strode away. The nurse looked down in surprise at the information. Today, the surgery was clearly scheduled for Li Zuelan, 45 years old, who admitted a patient for a mastectomy 3 days ago. How did Dr. He say it's a 60-year-old lady? Dr. He is talking about Li Xianglan, the elderly lady in bed 8 with liver cancer. Right. The nurse flipped through the surgery notification, muttering to herself. But the old lady had complications the day before yesterday and has already passed away. Right. Kizijo walked out of the office, recalling the expression on my face when I left, feeling inexplicably irritable. He took out his phone to send a message. Juan E. Grandma is about to have surgery. Where are you? Juan E. Come to the operating room right away. There are some pre-surgery preparations I need to discuss with you. Juan E. Don't worry. I will make sure Grandma's surgery is a success. 10 minutes later. Hizijo stood at the door of the operating room, watching as the nurse pushed the patient over. The plane landed at Taoxian Airport, a northern city I had never visited before. There was no Hizijo here, nor was there Su Weiwei. I didn't have to be on edge, constantly waiting for the hospital's critical condition notice. Looking out of the taxi window at the wide road and towering buildings, I suddenly remembered Hizi's spirited demeanor when he was accepted into medical school. He held my hand, his eyes shining brightly as he said, Wani, I will become the best doctor in your support. Once I finish my studies, I will be able to protect Grandma and ensure she lives a long life. After landing and turning on my phone, there were more than 10 text messages. The latest one from 3 minutes ago. Wani, what do you mean? I looked at those few words and managed a faint, lonely smile. What do I mean? How ironic it is that, at this point, Hizijo still feels that I owe him something and comes to question me about what I really mean. I pleaded with him to arrange surgery for my grandmother. I accepted that he wanted me to wait in line. But is Su Weiwei's double eyelid surgery really that important? Will my grandmother die if she doesn't have her double eyelids done on the day of her surgery? I have no desire to confront Hizijo. Rather, I no longer want to see him at all. I looked at that message, and memories slowly came flooding back. From the time we started arguing, to being too busy with work to see each other often, to the heavy academic load where we would complain while trying to study, to the final year of high school where we were sustained only by willpower, to the moment when Hizijo first confessed to me. More than a decade. Our youth has finally burned out. Sis, we're here. The driver was a burly middle-aged man, smiling kindly as he reminded me that we had arrived at the hotel. I suddenly woke up. All these years with Hizijo, I had been accommodating him. For him. I gave up my preferred school to choose one in the same city as him. For him. I left the stable life in my hometown to struggle in the big city. For him. I hadn't been able to visit my grandmother for years until she fell ill, and only then did I bring her here. Yet, more than a decade of feelings could not compete with Su Weiwei's pair of double eyelids. I thought that with the passage of time, we would gradually mature, and it would be normal not to have intimate attachments anymore. I thought his career was more important than mine, and I should step back and take care of him. I thought our love should lead to fulfillment. But upon reflection, he chose other paths time and again, while I followed behind him. He never chose me even once. I suddenly remembered what my grandmother said to me when she was gravely ill. Zijo is very career-oriented. One day he will see your worth. Tears splashed onto my phone. Grandma, I can never wait for him anymore. Hizijo doesn't have me in his heart, and I will never be his first choice. The phone vibrated. An unfamiliar number. I silently hung up and blocked the number. I finally severed my obsession, cutting off a self-deceiving love for someone unworthy. Having left, I would never look back. At the company entrance, Hizijo furrowed his brow tightly. Everything belonging to Wani had been cleared out. There was not a trace of her left in the house. She truly meant it when she said she was throwing everything away. Hizijo came to Wani's company to find her, but was informed that Wani had already left. Her colleagues looked at him coldly, pointing and whispering, as if he had committed some unforgivable mistake. His phone rang, and Hizijo quickly checked it, only to find it was Su Weiwei. Zijo Gu. I feel dizzy. Am I concussed? Su Weiwei's voice was sweet and delicate. Hizijo frowned. Su Weiwei. A concussion falls under the domain of neurosurgery. It has nothing to do with my general surgery. I promised Aunt Zhou to take care of you, but you should have some self-care ability, right? Qi Zizhou was genuinely getting impatient. Usually, he thought of Su Weiwei as a little girl. A bit spoiled and a bit pretentious, which was nothing much. But now, with 7 or 8 calls a day, he was busier than ever, barely managing to find time to meet Wan Yi, and Su Weiwei still came over without any sense of propriety. But, Zizhou Gu. Su Weiwei's voice sounded very aggrieved. It was your girlfriend who hit me. She should at least come and apologize to me. Shut up. I checked the surveillance. And you called Wan Yi an old hag. Is that your upbringing? Qi Zizhou was truly starting to get angry. Things happened too suddenly at that time. And he was worried that Su Weiwei might be in trouble, so he took her to the hospital first. But after Wan Yi left, he gradually calmed down and checked the home surveillance, only to find that Su Weiwei had provocatively insulted Wan Yi without any manners. Wan Yi's grandmother was her Achilles heel, and moreover, the old lady had passed away suddenly. Wan Yi was grieving, and Su Weiwei still said that her grandmother was an old hag. Of course, Wan Yi would be furious and might lash out. Who doesn't have a grandmother? Just because her grandmother is valuable, right? Su Weiwei muttered softly. Qi Zizhou frowned tightly and hung up the phone. I settled my luggage and only took my phone as I walked on the wide streets of the northern city. Here, unlike the humid warmth of the south, it is dry and cold. There are many cars on the street, but the people seem relaxed. In the small garden by the roadside, elderly people are dancing square dance and playing musical instruments, while a small chessboard has gathered many onlookers who are watching intently. I found an agency and rented a 1-bedroom apartment in a building with an elevator. The community is filled with large green plants and tall trees. The landlord is a cheerful woman who, upon hearing that I came here for work, smiled and said, although our place isn't in the city center, it's right next to the subway, making travel convenient. There's a fresh supermarket at the entrance for groceries, and all visitors to the community are registered. So ordering takeout is safe. For a young girl like you, living in a gated community is the best option. I watched the grandmothers in the community yard feeding stray cats and thought of my own grandmother, who would scatter grass seeds in her small yard to feed a flock of chicks. Tears fell without warning. The elder sister was still introducing the facilities in the house, all of which were about 80% new. She was going to another city to help her daughter take care of her grandson, and the items had only been added not long ago. If you need anything, just give me a call, and I'll arrange for repairs. Don't worry. The elder sister patted my shoulder, her smile as warm as sunshine. 3 days later, I officially reported to the branch office. Most of the colleagues here are from nearby cities. Everyone has left their hometown to work in the provincial capital. During lunch, while chatting, they talked about this year's science fiction novel competition. Really, Wan Yi, your copywriting is quite good. How about giving it a try? Team leader Zhang Xingnan asked me with a smile. I was taken aback for a moment. Me, yes. You have a lot of depth in your writing. Plus, your resume says you've written online literature for 5 or 6 years. Right. Just give it a shot, Zhang Xingnan said with a smile. The other colleagues also began to chirp in encouragement. Yeah, go for it. It won't cost you anything. So what's there to be afraid of? I suddenly remembered his disdainful expression when he saw me writing web novels. He said, these things have no value whatsoever. I don't know what you're holding on to. Who says web novels have no value? Zhang Xingnan pouted. Wan Yi, let me tell you. Some men just look down on women. They think what they do is important, while they consider women's little things to be worthless. I gripped my chopsticks tightly, a storm brewing in my heart. Unknowingly, I seemed to have gotten used to his belittlement. In his eyes, my school was inferior to his. My job was less impressive than his. And even my hobbies lacked the sophistication and grandeur he valued. How many web novels have been published and adapted into TV dramas? They not only have commercial value but also deserve a place in future textbooks as a literary form. Zhang Xingnan said to her colleagues, "The internet is a platform, just like publishers 100 years ago. Jane Austen, the Bronte sisters, Agatha Christie, who hasn't walked this path? They couldn't even write their articles freely." Woolf once said. Mrs. Dalloway decided to buy the flowers herself. Our fate and development are in our own hands. Don't let a man's denial negate your own worth. One must live for oneself. After finishing 2 surgeries, He Zizhou was informed by the nurse that Su Weiwei insisted on seeing him. Dragging his weary body, He Zizhou went to Su Weiwei's hospital room. Colleagues in the neurosurgery department had already told him that Su Weiwei did not have a concussion and could have been discharged long ago to observe at home. But she simply refused to leave. Fortunately, there were still available beds in neurosurgery, and since he had some connection with her, they didn't persuade her to leave. He Zizhou looked at Su Weiwei lying in bed and inexplicably felt a sense of exhaustion. When are you going to make a scene? It's not like there's anything wrong. So why don't you just go home? He Zizhou showed an impatient expression. Su Weiwei pouted. Humph. They'll leave when your girlfriend comes to apologize to me. He Zizhou walked to her bedside and sat down. You said her grandmother is never going to die. So why don't you apologize to Wan Yi? Su Weiwei showed a wronged expression. It's true. Using an old person to hold you hostage. My mom has cooked for you for so many years. And when you come to my house for dinner, you should take care of me too. He Zizhou irritably ran his fingers through his hair. If Aunt Zhou gets sick, I will take care of her. Even if it's not Wan Yi, I will treat any patient. Su Weiwei reached out and grabbed He Ziz's arm. Brother Zizhou, what's so good about Wan Yi? She's not even good looking. Her figure isn't great, and her education level is low. You're already the attending physician. How can a mere clerk be worthy of you? He Zizhou looked coldly at Su Weiwei. Then who do you think is worthy of me? Su Weiwei's eyes lit up. Brother Zizhou, look at me. We've grown up together. We should be together. He Zizhou forced a bitter smile. So you just keep causing trouble every day. And of all times, you want me to accompany you to Korea for double eyelid surgery when Grandma Wan is about to have her operation. Su Weiwei mumbled. But you had to agree first. And you still went with me. He Zizhou closed his eyes in pain. He had assessed Grandma Wan's condition and thought that delaying for 2 days wouldn't be a problem. As a doctor, he should have considered the issue of complications. But he didn't. He went with Su Weiwei for the double eyelid surgery instead. Back home, He Zizhou looked at the empty house and for the first time felt how big it was. When they first rented the apartment, Wan Yi was filled with excitement as she decorated the place, dreaming of a better life when they would buy a house together in the future. The two of them saved diligently for the down payment, and they were on the verge of discussing marriage. But then Grandma Wan fell ill. He Zizhou had considered that Wan Yi might use her grandmother's illness as an excuse to pressure him into marriage. Especially since they were both getting older. Even his mother had been subtly urging him to marry during the new year. But Wan Yi did not do that. This was part of her maturity. She would never act inappropriately at the wrong time. And this was also why He Zizhou loved her the most. However, Su Weiwei's appearance shattered this balance. Mom, he was busy with work. A single mother who had to leave early and return late to make a living for her child. Aunt Zhou next door felt sorry for He Zizhou and would bring him a bowl of food when she cooked. Mom, he said that this kindness of a meal had to be repaid. He Zizhou took care of Su Weiwei more. And Aunt Zhou said that since Su Weiwei came to the city to work, He Zizhou helped her find a place to live, helped her fix the plumbing, and helped her repair the lights. No matter how tired he was from work, he would definitely lend a hand if she needed it. After all, a girl living alone needed someone to accompany her when calling for workers. He thought Wan Yi was sensible and wouldn't mind these things. But he didn't expect Su Weiwei to continuously test his limits, taking advantage of the kindness of that bowl of rice. Su Weiwei's WeChat message came again. Zizhou. Wan Yi is almost a 30-year-old woman. Having a baby is already a struggle for her. Why are you hanging on to one tree? Moreover, if she can leave so decisively, there must be someone else outside. Otherwise, how could she give you up when you're so good? Zizhou looked at the message, frowned, took a screenshot, and created a small group of 4 people, sending the image to the group and ing Aunt Zhou, wanting her to see what her daughter was like in private. I carefully read the requirements for the science fiction novel competition, mustered my courage, and began to brainstorm and write. After finishing the first 10,000 words, I took it to the group leader, hoping she could give me some feedback. Zhang Xingnan seriously read the first 10,000 words and looked at me with confusion. You really are a southern girl. Your emotions are so delicate, and you must have experienced heartbreak. It's evident in your writing. I was taken aback for a moment, feeling a bit embarrassed as I picked at my hands. Is it that obvious? Zhang Xingnan smiled and said, moreover, the female lead suffered such a heavy emotional injury, yet she never thought of getting revenge on the scumbag. This clearly shows she's a sentimental woman from the water towns of Jiangnan. I looked at her in confusion. If it were a girl from our northeast, she would have knocked the scumbag's head off. After saying that, we exchanged a glance and couldn't help but burst into laughter. With good writing, you should write boldly, without breaking. There can be no standing. Pain will transform into inspiration, shaping your future. Zhang Xingnan patted my shoulder, encouraging me. I held the tablet, silently making a resolution in my heart. The neighborhood was very quiet at night. There wasn't much nightlife in the north, and the glitz and glamour were more concentrated. Looking at the scattered lights of the buildings outside in the darkness, I buried myself in writing, releasing all the emotions that had been bottled up for so many years. Inspiration poured out like a spring, leaping between the words. My characters began to take on flesh and blood, embarking on her own adventurous life. After the manuscript was submitted for review, Zhang Xingnan suggested that we all go out to have some fun. We can't always be stuck in one place. Let me introduce you to a few guys from the northeast, so you can change things up a bit. Zhang Xingnan winked at me. The mountains in the north are different from those in the south. Many are more suitable for climbing and spring outings. Spring in the north is fleeting. The first few days can still feel cold, but then it suddenly warms up overnight. The trees on the mountains are a vibrant green, the kind that can cover the sky. Here, this is my brother. Oh, my cousin, Li Ning. Zhang Xingnan pulled over a tall boy and smiled as she introduced him to me. I felt awkward, thinking she was joking, but it turned out she was serious. Li Ning was different from He Zizhou, who was so thin. He was tall with broad shoulders, although he also wore glasses. His square face looked more upright and gave a sense of security. My brother works at an architectural design institute. You all are in the creative field, so just chat casually. Zhang Xingnan pushed her brother towards me and went off to joke with others. I stood there, at a loss, feeling incredibly awkward. Li Ning smiled and scratched his head. My sister is just like that. Don't take it to heart. She told me a lot about you. Said you're really nice. Your writing is great. And you're a talented woman. Plus, you're so gentle. It makes people feel a bit heartbroken. I felt my face flush, tightly pursing my lips, thinking to myself that women from the northeast are really too generous, not leaving anyone any room to retreat. Li Ning naturally took my backpack. Come on, let's take a stroll. My sister said you've been especially tired lately, so let's walk along the tree-lined path and relax a bit. I felt a bit embarrassed and wanted to snatch the backpack back, but Li Ning dodged away. Hey, you're carrying a shoulder bag. At first, it doesn't feel heavy, but after a while, you'll start to feel it. Carrying bags is something us men should do. Just take your time and watch your step, Li Ning said with a smile. I stared at him, as if wrapped in a warm breeze. With He Zizhou, I could never do anything right. He always told me to be independent, not to rely on him all the time, and that I needed to fight alongside him. It had been so long that I had forgotten what it felt like to be cared for. Li Ning was tall with long legs, but he walked slowly, matching my pace. He shared stories about the quirky clients he encountered at the Design Institute, making sure to avoid technical jargon and instead using easy-to-understand examples. I walked alongside him on the tree-lined path, feeling relaxed for the first time in my life. No one was chasing after me. No one was blaming me. This feeling of being treated equally was something I had never experienced before. After our outing, Zhang Xingnan organized a dinner, saying it was to let me experience the portion sizes of Northeast cuisine. Everyone responded enthusiastically, and Li Ning quietly told me to just say what I liked to eat, not to worry. Looking at the lively group around the table, I suddenly felt less lonely. In this small village, I had no peers. I grew up with my grandmother, and my parents only came back during the new year. My relationship with them was distant, and after so many years without contact, I felt no regret. Being with He Zizhou also made me feel lonely at times, watching him busy himself for Su Weiwei. I had felt wronged before. I thought I was being overly sensitive. Now I realize that I, too, need care and love from others. That night, Li Ning formally asked me if he could add me on WeChat to chat. I thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. He Zizhou received a complaint from a patient's family, accusing him of accepting red envelopes. Sitting in his office, He Zizhou couldn't recall ever having accepted a red envelope. Although he was proud, he still upheld medical ethics and absolutely prohibited such practices. The patient's family bit him to death after receiving a red envelope. The old man did not survive to get off the operating table, and the patient's family wanted to sue him for taking money without doing his job. His superiors notified him to suspend his work and cooperate with the investigation. A nurse came to deliver some documents and reminded He Zizhou. The family of that old man came to your office privately before, but you weren't there at the time. Your girlfriend was. He Zizhou was taken aback. Girlfriend? My girlfriend has never been to my office. The nurse thought for a moment. It's that long-haired, fair-skinned girl. Isn't she your girlfriend? He Zizhou suddenly felt as if all the blood had been drained from his body, his hands and feet cold. It was Su Weiwei. He Zizhou took out his phone and dialed Su Weiwei's number, which connected after just 2 rings. Zizhou Gu. Su Weiwei's voice sounded a bit ethereal, and one could hear loud music and chatter in the background. You came to my office. He Zizhou stood up abruptly, shouting in anger. Su Weiwei paused for a moment. I did. What's wrong? Did Wani come to your office to argue with you? I just left a pair of stockings there. Why is she so petty? He Ziz's mind buzzed, and he gritted his teeth. Did you take someone else's money in my office? Su Weiwei fell silent for a moment, then said matter-of-factly, isn't that how it should be? Only 50,000 in red envelopes is too stingy. You're the doctor who performed surgery on their elder. Shouldn't you take a bit more? He Zizhou felt a tightness in his chest, nearly fainting. The medical ethics and good reputation he had upheld for so many years were trampled underfoot by Su Weiwei, accepting a bribe in his office, and with him being implicated. There was no other way but to send Su Weiwei in. But if he sent Su Weiwei in, what would happen to Aunt Zhou? He Zizhou held his head in his hands. What should he do? Su Weiwei was still young. Was her entire future going to be ruined like this? But if he didn't push Su Weiwei out, what would happen to his own life? After a while, he made a decision. When the police caught Su Weiwei in the bar, she still looked completely bewildered. On my 5th date with Li Ning, I received a call from the staff of the science fiction novel competition, informing me that my work had won first prize. In that moment, it felt as if all the pressure on my shoulders had vanished. I excitedly grabbed Li Ning's hand and screamed in joy. Great writers don't forget each other when you become rich and famous. Li Ning teased me with a smile. I excitedly hugged him. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Finally, I walked out into a world that belonged to me on my own. A year later, I got married to Li Ning. As I left the Civil Affairs Bureau, I received a call from He Zizhou. On the other end of the line, he pleaded with me to come back and see him, or at least tell him where I was so he could find me. But I no longer needed him. I said calmly, He Zizhou, leaving you was the best decision I've ever made in my life. You owe me a life. So let's never see each other again. He Zizhou broke down in tears. I lost my license because of Su Weiwei. And she's in prison now. Wan Yi. After more than 10 years of our relationship. Can't you give me one more chance to make amends? I held Li Ning's hand tightly, lifted my chin, and said, He Zizhou, the past cannot be revisited. A good ex should be treated as if they are dead. I could still hear He Ziz's cries when I hung up the phone. Li Ning smiled and shook my hand. The great writer Wan is starting to have some style. I shot him a glance. We're having Hei de Leo for dinner. Li Ning leaned in and kissed my forehead. Okay. I turned away, leaving behind the once suffocating love. And what awaited me was a brilliant future.